Well,
Yep.
son of a bitch.
The mic is now no longer unplugged.
The mic was in fact plugged in, but apparently needed to be rebooted.
And the camera needs to be adjusted.
Where's my yardstick? Yeah.
There we go.
It's the PTZ ruler. Pan, tilt, zoom.
Gotcha.
So, all right.
All right. So, it's like a thing happened yesterday.
A thing indeed happened.
I sent you some memes. Plus, I'd love to get to Robert Forthright's take on this. Though I suspect you and I are on the same page and all that. Like just the salt.
The salt mines are rich today.
So the richest person in the world's an African American.
Oh.
And so the richest person in the world bought one of the most influential platforms in the world. And
and the salt mines are overflowing.
Yes. It's
Wait, do these hyenas have cloven hooves?
No, it's from the beginning of the movie where all the
that's
animals
right.
are worshiping
With the gazelles and stuff.
That's right.
That's right, because that's Rafiki, not Scar.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. But is it Seaver? I'm going with Seaver.
Oh, Steve said it's Cyver.
Oh, well then I'm going to say Seaver. But Seaver said that regardless of what happens, there's 2016 levels of... I know, this one... I got good chuckles out of this one. There's 2016 levels of and I'm here for it. Like, I really am. It's... So, seriously...
from the description, I mentioned the elongated muskrat. Y'all, Elon has been a powerful troll for a while now. The elongated muskrat, no shit, he tweeted, and this was a while ago, but just one day out of the blue, Elon tweeted, "My full name is Elongated Muskrat." And that's, you know what, self-deprivation. But let's take a moment and look at some of the salt, some of the reply, some of the responses. Like this, Jack Posobiec's got Jack Posobiec informing us that Sean King, that's right, Talcomex himself, has deleted his Twitter account, and there it is at Sean King. Just to verify, we're gonna click on that live with you. And, what's that? This account doesn't exist. What? How? What? Talcomex took his party favors and quit. But I'll say this for him. Not a lot of liberals actually moved to Canada when they threatened to.
Right. Next.
And there it is, right? I'm moving to Canada. I'm removing my music from Spotify. I'm deleting my Twitter account. Yeah, please do. Please do. Remember it wasn't that long ago that a bunch of washed up has-been musicians, and I mean, Neil Young, he was huge in his day, but nobody's chasing Neil Young around Spotify, right? And he threatens to quit because of something that Joe Rogan said, and Spotify said, yeah, go ahead and break the bomb early. Fuck yourself. We don't care.
Curly Bill. Well, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that was... Okay, so...
Now I just need to cut Elon's head into some tombstone and say, I have not yet begun to defile myself.
Yes.
What's next, Elon?
Yeah. Oh, man, there's so many jokes you could... Okay, all right, seriously, let's stop just for a moment, okay? Because this is obviously going to be a fun episode where we make fun of all the people and all the things, and appropriately so. But let's spend a moment discussing why this is important. And I think it can be summed up in just a few sentences. We've heard over and over and over again, oh, well, if you don't like it, get your own platform. Well, Elon said, hold my Tesla.
No,
Hold on, let me finish, okay? All right, but here's the reason why that's really important, okay? Every time we've gone and done an alternate platform, like Parler, it's depressed, or in Parler's case, like yoinked out of all the app stores for a time being.
Right.
And then here's the thing. The right has no problem with engaging the left on the platforms they're on. The left will not go to platforms that the right is on.
And so there's a few things in that dynamic that are significant. The left is a wide, shallow pool. The right is more of a deep well. So you get the lefties on social media, and they're all actively engaging in it, with just a handful of them generating the individual ideas and the rest regurgitating them over and over and over again. On the right, well, we're busy. We're not nearly engaged in social media on the right. We're not nearly engaged in using it as a messaging platform. But those of us who are doing a lot of really good stuff. A lot of really engaging and humorous satire. A lot of deeper, complex analysis of political situations, things like that. But then when you get the builds, it is the case that much of the left, or much of Silicon Valley, is owned by the left. So a lot of the technical talent is on that side, which is just weird, because the technical talent, by a wide margin, has a tendency to be politically disengaged, just as a matter of their intellectual faculties, because that level of talent at higher end systems administration, design, and construct they're necessarily very focused on that specialty. And Steve mentions correctly that the left can't meme, but then it's not just that there's so much of the technical talent and the actual necessary infrastructure talent on the left, but then you get your Parlers and the like, and they don't fail just because they go underutilized, because the leftists won't engage there and the pool on the right for that engagement is a smaller pool. But they're actively, when we say suppressed, we're not talking about some nebulous concept like shadow banning. We're talking about the hosting platforms are removed. They sign a deal with Amazon. This was Parler's error, right? Kind of like what I said about the Canadian truck convoy trying to do business with GoFundMe. It's like, no, you knew who these people were. You should have thought of that to begin with. So that's on Parler for getting greased the way they did. But let's be real. What happened is Parler was politically assassinated. Truth Social is not rolling out well. I'm on the waiting list for a Truth Social account and haven't had any contact back from them. That's just, but that I don't know if that's an incompetence there, or if they're running into issues similar to what happened to Parler and other platforms where they were just removed. Right, Gitter's another one that was. I think Gitter was removed. There have been several, and they get removed from app stores. They get their server farms shut down. It's well, if you want it different, then go build your own, right? And you go and you start building your own house, and all the while the lefties are stealing your copper wire whenever you try to get some sleep.
Yeah, and
they do that shit. They steal copper wire, and it's aggravating as fuck.
Well, it's because you can take copper wire to a dump and you get per pound more than gold for it. Like it's
That's less, not anymore. That's less true now. But yeah, there was a hot minute there. Steve and I showed up to a job site one time, and they had cut the 500 kcml off flush at the pipe on both ends. I don't know how. I do know how because we did it, but oh my God.
So you start the job over. Yeah, there were some apartment complexes in Rockmart that where all the air conditioning units literally had like the steel bars like welded to the concrete like around them so that anyhow. But look, the thing though is it's not just the depression of the alternative platforms. It's even if those alternative platforms not being depressed, the fact that the left has been so carefully trained to stay in a few areas, right? If it doesn't show up on CNN, if it doesn't show up on ABC 6 o'clock news, they're probably not going to see it, hear it, whatever. I mean, there are people that believe, for example, like Donald Trump really did say that there were very fine people on both sides, and he meant neo-Nazis instead of people on the...
Right, even though he explicitly said, and I'm not talking about this list of unacceptable people.
Okay, and there are also people that believe Donald Trump was okay with pouring, when he changed EPA regulations, that it's okay with pouring pesticides into pond water and stuff like that, which is still illegal if you know anything about how that industry works. Spoiler alert, I was in pest control for a few years, so I did know how it worked, and it never stopped being illegal to pour Termidor into pond water, right? But the biggest example of what I'm talking about here is the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yes.
If the Hunter Biden laptop had been allowed to grow organically on Twitter, the way that stories like the Hunter Biden laptop have a tendency to grow on Twitter, the most fortified election in history might have gone a completely different direction. And that's not even counting the fact that, say, a platform like YouTube will not let us openly discuss theories about the most fortified election in history. Right. But just putting that one to the side, just sticking with Twitter, okay? Twitter has two things going for it. It was first, it was good enough to be fast, and now everybody's used to using it. Okay, and Twitter will let you follow whatever you want to follow. You're a sports guy and you want to keep up with 6 games at once, Twitter's the place to go. Like, if you're into animes and furry and you want to know what Sean Schimmel, that's the voice of Goku for America, by the way. you want to know what... Yeah, a little bit. You want to know what's going on in that world? Again, Twitter. It's the best place. Right? So Elon buying Twitter and just saying, hey, look, I'm actually going to let you guys see the source code, and I'm going to be a little more hands off and let more free speech type of stuff fly. The reason why the lefties hate this is because they're the ones that need to keep their side insulated. They're the ones that have to stay inside the echo chamber. Tim Pool references this, and he does episodes on it every now and then, about how if you look at the breakdown from where the right consumes its news and how the right consumes its news, the right is like 2.5 times more likely to get news from the opposite side than the left is. And I think that that's because we grew up in an environment where we had no choice. Like, up until... the late 90s, when Fox News was like, oh, well, we'll just try and be less left-leaning than all the other news networks.
Right.
Before then, there was ABC, CBS, NBC, and then there was CNN, and with the lone exception of Rush Limbaugh on AM radio, there was nothing. If you wanted news, you had to get it from the left.
Well, and even since then, we had, CNN was always in the airports, the barbershop, hell, in the barbershop on base, right? And it would be treated like it was a credible news source. CNN has never been a credible news source. At no point has CNN ever been anything but straight state propaganda media.
Yeah, what worldview did Ted Turner want to project out into the world?
Correct.
And look, in all fairness...
to be clear, that worldview was eugenics and socialism.
And pro-Clinton.
Yeah.
But that's why the thing with Twitter being bought by Elon is important, because this is an echo chamber. Like, look, Talcum X leaving the platform. You're like, oh, well, if people are going to be allowed to say what they really think and tell me how they really feel, I don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
I said, brother, the problem might not be the platform. Just saying.
Well, and I made this watching. I was both elated and a little heartbroken to hear Alex and Danny talking about this on their show last night, because I just felt like, well, crap. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do a show about this without sounding like I'm just saying what Alex said, which obviously I can manage. But I had that concern. But they got to talking a little bit about the alphabet people, and there is some concern among the lefties that the alphabet people won't be safe. And I cracked this joke about the alphabet people, but it applies to all leftists, right? They need things like Twitter. They need things like Twitter pre-Elon with massive censorship. They need those things in order to propagate, in order to reproduce. Because the alphabet people, just like all other leftists, they don't generate progeny. They're either incapable of reproducing, or they voluntarily murder their children in the womb for political or financial gain. I mean, it is a sacred rite of passage to sacrifice your young on the altar of ecumenical politics.
You mean Moloch?
Yes.
Just
yeah,
throwing it out there.
Yep. And so they need to be able to lie without being challenged, or they can't reproduce. That's not just a quip about how 2 men or 2 women can't have a baby. You need to understand that the left generally is not raising children.
Yeah. So that's all the serious stuff. Can we finish the show by going back to memes and commentary and laughing at the salt mines?
You mean like this one? And leftists are losing their minds!
Yeah. Part of what made that movie so entertaining is that the Joker wasn't wrong. He wasn't right, but he wasn't wrong.
Now, Razor makes a good point here. The censorious policies Twitter embraced to get one guy out of the White House are a big reason why they're even financially vulnerable enough to be susceptible to a takeover. Policies you applauded and defended. It's your bed. Have a lie down. And remember, Elon is not some hard right guy.
No, he's not.
Elon is probably best described as a left-leaning libertarian.
Yes, very much so. The rare bird that is.
And
like the Tesla exists.
Well, to be a left-leaning libertarian is an inherently dishonest position, and I think that Elon is the trend of Elon's thought expressions suggests to me that he's smart enough that he's understanding that left-leaning positions that he held previously are not good positions or are held incorrectly. Environmentalism is a good example. The leftist assertion on environmentalism is that lefties care about the planet, and not that the right doesn't care about the planet, but rather the right actively seeks to cause the planet harm.
It's when Obama said Republicans want you to have dirty air and water.
And that's obviously insane.
Really? That's what we want.
The fact is, Democrats say they want clean air and water. But then you can go back and look at the era of Trump, and you see that the fact of the matter is humans want clean air and water. They want more efficient energy production. They want the things that the left says they want to deliver. says they will deliver if they're given the money to deliver it. But then you look at the Trump era and what you discover, Trump pulled us out of the Paris Accord, and within seemingly minutes of that, the result was that America had lowered its carbon emissions, and no one else had in any significant way. And the impetus of those lowered emissions was the individual corporations engaged in oil and energy production continuing to pursue ever more efficient ways to make money through the production of energy. See, the funny thing about efficiency is when you have waste, like let's say you're the nastiest polluting energy producer in the world, your energy production system literally just spills oil into the floors of your own factory.
China?
Believe it or not, it costs you money to clean that up. And I'm not saying to try and clean it up in the right way to make sure that none of the little seagulls get an oil slick on them. I'm saying just to keep the factory from burning down.
Yeah, half-ass still
Being
costs you
bad
half an
at your
ass.
job is expensive. Capitalists don't like expensive. They don't like waste. They don't want to burn money on implementing safety procedures to overcome the dangers of dirty operation. That applies in all sectors. Lazy capitalists that don't plan against inefficiency do not remain in business for long. So the fact of the matter is, the left says that they want things that humans want, and then goes out of their way to make sure that they deprive you of the resources required to achieve those objectives. The right tends to think people want things that are good for them. If we just get the hell out of the way, they will do those things. And here's the best part. The evidence of history bears that out. Unequivocally. Without exception.
So real quick, St. Michael of Cigarillo must have missed our show when we talked about the whole Disney Florida thing. But just to address it, since he asked, yeah, we talked about it. Yes, it's hysterical that now lefties completely understand that corporations and regulations have effects on the economy, but that's not what we're doing this morning. Yeah. So, was any more? What else is good?
Yeah. And I wanted to get to this too. Tim Pool mentioned something about it, so I went and did a little digging on it. It cannot be understated what a tactical genius Elon is. Just a couple weeks ago, has it been more than? It's just been a week, just over a week. Elon offered to buy Twitter for what was it? It was
like $54.20. Yeah,
because he snuck the $4.20 in there. $54.20.
Because of course, of course,
because he has to stick the $4.20 in there. Yeah. My man. Anyway. Offered to buy the company at that price and was just flat rejected by the board. Now, understand that the board for Twitter, these people are evil. These are Saudi princes and politicos. The people that rejected that offer, there's probably a good argument to be made that what they did at that point was a crime because of the fiduciary duty of board members to the shareholders. Twitter was not valued at $54.20 at the time that Elon offered that price. And since then, and remember, these guys are politicos. It is painfully obvious to anybody who can read the writing on the wall that they don't want to give up Twitter precisely because it is a mechanism through which they can influence U.S. elections. That's a huge part of the math there. The offer that has been tentatively accepted, this is all still in process.
I think we can call it a done deal. Like the Wall
Probably,
Street
but it's technically not yet.
Wall Street suspended trading
Correct.
of Twitter stock. That's writing on the wall type.
And St. Michael Point, yes, correct. It really was proof that profit is not what these people care about. Not exactly. It's that we make a mistake when we assume that mere capital wealth is the only profit that's available to be earned. There is a lot left on a table in any given negotiation for most people. You can keep asking for more and offering more ad infinitum almost, and both parties profit enormously, and that profit margin is not merely cash on the barrelhead. I mean, it could be as simple, it could be as simple as a deal where you're trying to buy a house and you make concessions and demands based on who's going to deal with replacing that busted ass fence, stuff like that. That's a very pedestrian example, but you should get the point across generally.
Example.
Now, the offer that has been tentatively accepted is $40 billion, right? Elon's buying it at a discount against his original offer. And I think here's why. The Twitter earnings report comes out later this week. If the board has rejected a credible offer, and then the earnings report comes out and is negative, to a certain extent, it has to be negative to a particular certain extent or more, but the fact is, Twitter's earnings have been negative for a long time. Twitter has not been a gangbusters profit machine. It's primarily on ad revenue, and ad buys have been down for some time. I don't have enough data to make an aggressive prediction on what the earnings report will be, but that the deal was made and accepted in the same week as the earnings report, I strongly doubt is an accident. Musk basically got up and slopped his big dick on the table and said, hey, you can take my deal, or you can deal with the government and explain to the regulators why you left your shareholders twisting with their tits in the wind as a bad earnings report came out in the same week that you could have sold the company at more than it will be worth after your earnings report drops. And here's the best bit. Twitter rallied and actually grew in value on the stock exchange immediately and substantially as a result. Now, we can't say for certain that it was
I think we can make that assumption.
But it fucking is as a result of Musk buying Twitter. And that's not just incredibly interesting and heartening on the front that it means that there are some people that think that Twitter would be better served. It means that there are a lot more people with money who have an interest in Twitter no longer being controlled by the same people that want you to eat the bugs, live in the pods, and vote for Joe Scranton Biden.
Yeah, and don't own the car. Rent the car.
Rent the car. You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Yes, you'll be free. Slavery is freedom, and freedom is slavery.
But there's too many people, so we're going to Bill Gates.
Yes. Mysterious fires at food production plants.
In other news, Snopes had to fact check Bill Gates' titties.
I saw that, and that was just one of those things that was like, it's like when they would fact check the Babylon Bee, or when they would fact check things and call them mostly false, even though they were like 75% true, and it's just like, okay.
It's so, the Trump eating an ice cream cone example.
I know.
The headline comes out, Trump ate a vanilla ice cream cone, and Snopes replies, there were no sprinkles on the cone. Who said sprinkles? Nobody said sprinkles.
Right.
Yes, but sprinkles is false. Therefore, fake news. You're lying out loud. Do you hear you lying?
Yes.
Because we do.
Yeah, we saw Elon's tweet with the preggers emoji and Bill Gates. Yes, we did. It's
fastest way to lose a boner. He's not wrong.
Yeah, a grade A1 Wagyu trolling.
I think Sergeant Major almost snorted his pot roast when I showed him that.
So let's just go back to the Razor Fist and close on that since we're over time, because this is the point. right here. This, and I love, remember, hashtag RIP Twitter Spurgs. And yeah, that hashtag's going on every tweet for the next couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
The censorious policies Twitter embraced to get one guy out of the White House are a big reason why they're even financially vulnerable enough to be susceptible to a takeover. Policies you applauded and defended. It's your bed. Have a lie down. Yes.
That's it in a nutshell. Yes.
You know how, like, lefties, they all think they're clever when they post a thing and then in bold letters above it or below it, they go, this! You know what I'm talking about? Where, like, they literally write the word, this!
Yes.
Yep. This!
And, okay, a little more salt, and then I do have to get down the road. Johnny Bricks here. Elon Musk could have gave his $44 billion to the government to fight hunger and homelessness. And before I read the next sentence, this is fantastic. Ward Cleaver's a B. You're gonna have to elaborate. Don't just come in with bullshit accusations. Ward Cleaver's a B. CB. Ward Cleaver CB. Yeah. Okay. Bring your weak shit and expound upon your accusation. But you've made a false statement. But I don't have time to deal with you, troll bag. So obviously, after his next sentence, he's trolling here. But Elon Musk could have gave his $44 billion to the government to fight hunger and homelessness. There was a situation last summer, I think it was, that I forget the parties involved. Somebody, part of the EU, Musk said, show me a plan to end world hunger for $6 billion, and I'll give you the $6 billion. And they sent him a detailed plan, and he never gave him the $6 billion, and the lefties, they came back, you were full of shit. No, he did expand that, send me a detailed, effective plan to end world hunger.
Effective.
And what they sent him was a bucket of pork, where, roughly $3.5 to $4 billion went to the administrative costs of government oversight to spend the remaining $1.5 to $2 billion. That's not a plan to end world hunger, fuckbag. That's a plan to line your pockets. And, Johnny Briggs, just nails that. Next year there would be just as many hungry homeless Americans, but more wealthy politicians. And that's exactly right. And then there was another one. Elon says, I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means. That's probably going to be well phrased, and I hope he means it.
That is going to be the quote that he is remembered for, assuming all this goes.
This one, two dudes wearing Tesla caps just rolled up and knocked my Quiznos sandwich out of my hand and yelled, "This is Twitter country. You see what hell you've wrought, Elon Musk?"
Oh God!
Social media platform.
That's good.
Russian leaders. Okay, I had another one pulled up that I wanted to talk about. I must have closed it when I was shutting them down. Okay.
Well.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and put a pin in it there. Y'all be safe, and we will see you tomorrow.